Rebel Force Radio presents
Star Wars Cantina.
Where are you going, Master?
For a drink.
Sorry about the mess.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
You're in sports commentating, huh?
Yes, we're going to be talking about...
What do you think? Who do you like today?
I like the White Sox. I always
do?
like the Chicago White Sox. Now, you're from the UK.
That's
so
right.
You might be more of a cricket fan.
I love a bit of cricket, yeah.
All right, we're talking sports with prequel actor Jerome Blake, who starred in The Phantom Menace as a bevy of characters. Jerome, why don't we just run down the roster, and why don't you name all the characters you played in The Phantom Menace?
Okay, well, it's across the trilogy, but 7 characters. They were all in Phantom Menace. Some of them spilled over into Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. But here we go, and in no particular order. Rune Haako, Trade Federation Attorney. Mas Ameeda, Vice Chancellor of Galactic Senate. Opa Rancisis, Jedi Counselor. Senators Orn Free Taa, Horrocks Ryder, Graxel Kelvin, and Lot Dodd's assistant.
Wow, I don't know how you keep track of that stable of characters. I mean, who has played more characters in Star Wars than you? That's got to be a record.
Well, I don't have it confirmed officially, but I'm told by the fans that I am the record holder. Yeah,
it sure would seem that way to me. And you were in all 3 of the prequels?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry I didn't know that.
Okay.
I of course know your work from Phantom Menace. Rune Haako, of course, saw a lot of screen time with the Trade Federation and all that. And you were wearing that animatronic mask.
That's right.
Now, what's it like having that kind of thing on your head? Does it make noise in there?
It does, yeah, because the facial movements are controlled by servos. And so every time the guys that are controlling the eyelids or the mouth or whatever, every time they do something to make the character function, there's this whirring noises going on inside your head, So it's, it's almost robotic in a sense. But it was good. Team effort.
Now, as an actor, you're underneath all this. Do you find yourself motivating underneath all that, actually,
absolutely
making facial expressions that are similar to what the character is making?
It's difficult to make the facial expressions because, for example, with the Rune Haako head, you're surrounded by a fiberglass skull. Yeah. So you are constrained, but the intention behind it is exactly the same as any kind of conventional acting. In fact, there was a guy talking to me just now who's just gone to drama school, and he asked me a similar question. The last theatre work I did was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Christian Slater playing R.P. McMurphy.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, there's a different kind of research, a different kind of approach to playing. I played Chief Bromden.
Okay.
A different kind of approach to playing that than one of this kind of mask work. But the intent, the commitment to the role is exactly the same. And in fact, this gentleman complimented me on the fact that I brought a different kind of physicality to all of these characters, so it didn't look like a guy running around with a rubber mask on, basically.
Yes. I mean, obviously, to make the character come across as something real, you have to be doing something real underneath all that stuff.
Yeah, and also imbue it with some kind of characterization that takes it out of, there's a guy with a costume on.
Yeah, right.
Because it's supposed to be an alien being.
Yes. Yeah. And did you do the voice?
I did the voice of Mas Ameeda.
Mas Ameeda, okay.
I did all recorded all the stuff for Rune Haako, but and I still haven't asked George why. But after the fact, they decided to put this. I think he said it was a Vietnamese accent on it.
Yeah.
And I'm not entirely sure why, but there you go. But having said that, in the French and German and Italian versions of the film, they're dubbed anyway, so what does it matter? There's a different actor doing the voices in French, German, and Italian.
Right. And do you speak any of those languages?
I do.
So you were able to watch those versions?
I do, and in fact, I was honoured after the premiere in Italy, the Italian premiere. I was taken up to, which was in Rome. I was taken up to Milan. And for the first screening in Milan, I was allowed to introduce the film. And because I have friends in Italy, and I was very proud to be invited to do that. I introduced it in Italian.
Oh, cool.
And I had a bit of coaching, my friends scripted it for me, but I managed to get through, 3-minute introduction to the movie in Italiano.
Yeah.
Sì.
Do you know how to say "May the Force be with you" in Italian?
No.
Something I want to bring up about that character, that Rune Haako.
Yep.
There was a little bit of controversy about those Nemoidians when Phantom Menace was first released. Now, I'm not making any judgment calls here or anything.
Yep.
I thought a lot of that talk was really silly and ridiculous. But some people who didn't get it were saying that perhaps these characters were playing up an Asian stereotype. What do you think about all that?
My immediate thought is that a similar kind of criticism was leveled at Jar Jar Binks in that, they were saying that it was deprecating to Afro-Americans, Afro-Caribbeans or Afro-Americans. I just thought people that made those kind of criticisms probably have too much time on their hands because what's your point? We are different. There are differences between races in human existence. So why on earth would there not be differences in a galaxy far, far away?
Right.
So what do you want? You want to homogenize the whole world and have us all the same color and talking the same language?
Right.
Maybe some people do, but I personally don't. I like vive la différence. Is let's have variety.
Exactly. And Mas Ameeda is another character that actually is grown quite popular. Now, you did not play Mas Ameeda in all the films, did you? Just Phantom Menace, right?
No, in Phantom Menace it was all my work. In Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, some of the work, because it was shot in Australia, some of the work was done by an actor called David Bowers.
Okay.
Who I've never met, but so, as I say, some of the work was done by him, but I did the voicing on Mas Ameeda in Attack of the Clones. There's a scene in Revenge of the Sith, which is me as Mas Ameeda. There are other scenes that are David.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
There were also deleted scenes added to Attack of the Clones, which featured a Senate scene that had Mas Ameeda using a forked tongue to grab a fly.
Yeah.
I think I read the expanded universe explanation for that was just a way of showing authority for someone from his race in that position. That to call the order.
Yeah.
That was you saying order, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah. And in fact, the recording of "Order, We Shall Have Order" in Attack of the Clones, that was an outtake from Phantom Menace.
Oh, I see.
Because the Galactic Senate scene on Phantom Menace on the page was actually about 5 minutes long. There was dialogue between much more dialogue between me and Chancellor Valorum, Terence Stamp. I'm trying to think. There were other senators present. Bail Organa from Alderaan was in the room, and there was a conversation between Mas Ameeda and him.
Really?
Which didn't make it to the screen.
Oh, interesting.
So, that cutting room floor, as they say.
Right.
It's when you come to edit the thing, it's all about pacing. So you'd have to ask George.
Well, there is talk from Lucasfilm about producing an ultimate box set, Blu-ray, which will include all the outtakes, cutting room floor stuff.
Okay.
So perhaps we'll see that Mas Ameeda, Bail Organa scene.
Do you know what? I would love to see that for this reason alone. That scene was the very first thing I filmed on a Star Wars movie.
Oh, wow.
And as I say, it was 5 minutes long, and I was obviously a little nervous.
Yes.
First thing you shoot on a Star Wars movie is a 5-minute scene of dialogue. But we got through it. But I've never seen it in its entirety, so that would be great if it did happen to pop up on a Blu-ray thing.
Oh, I'm sure fans would love it because, like I said, Mas Ameeda is one of those guys that fans enjoy. Do you own any action figures of Mas Ameeda or Rune Haako?
I have one of everything at home.
That's cool.
Just because it's it's such an honor. It's
right. You feel pride for being behind that character.
Absolutely, and how can I express it? The mere fact that I'm still sitting here talking to you, it's the job has not finished as far as I'm concerned. It's, this is still part of the commitment to being in a Star Wars movie, because I recognize how important it is to people, and I was honored to be in the thing, and therefore I think it's only right that I serve that character.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's like you're a Star Wars ambassador.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, oddly enough, Peter Mayhew, who's, of course you can't see this because you're listening to this, but Peter's sitting about 20 yards away from us right now. He is an official ambassador for Star Wars. Lucasfilm have given him that title.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were actually awarding that title. It's almost like being a knight, British knight.
Well, if go and ask him or speak to Angie, and they will tell you.
Cool.
Because I've seen it on it was either on their website or on some publicity, and it said Peter Mayhew, ambassador for Star Wars.
Wow, that's really cool. Well, you know what? I grant you that title as well.
Thank you.
You're obviously out here doing it, going to the conventions, meeting the fans, and people want to meet you. Star Wars fans are just ravenous as far as collecting goes.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they have to have everything, every autograph, and getting one autograph from you is not good enough. They need 7 because they have 7 photos.
Well, I've tried to help them with that.
Yeah.
In that, I have a composite shot here.
Let's see. Who else here?
It's the senators.
Yeah, okay.
It's the 3 in the Senate scene. There is one moment where, as Mas Ameeda, I am calling myself to order as 3 different characters. So if you like, so I thought it was appropriate to put the 3 senators on one picture as a composite. And yeah. There you go.
3 birds with one stone.
Yes.
And of course, Orn Free Taa.
Yep.
Who got his name out of a sort of bastardization of corn fritter. I don't know if you've ever heard that. That was sort of like...
I'm afraid that's not true.
That's not true.
I'm sorry.
Really? I don't know. I must have read that in some Star Wars magazine.
I'm sorry to tell you that is absolutely not true.
Okay.
And I can tell you how he got his name, if you like.
Okay, I would love to hear it.
Nick Dudman, who ran the creature effects shop that created all of this stuff, his first job when he was starting out as a makeup artist was on Empire Strikes Back.
So he's been at it for a while.
The guy that employed him was called Stuart Freeborn.
Of course, yes, legendary, okay. The man who created Yoda.
When Phantom Menace was being shot, George Lucas gave Nick the opportunity to name this character.
Okay. Orn Free Taa.
Which we know is Orn Free Taa.
Yeah.
So, Nick's choice for naming the character was Orn Free Taa. So, Stuart Freeborn.
Free. Okay.
Born.
Orn. Born.
So, Nick turned that around. Orn, free, and Taa is, in English, is a slang, colloquialism for thank you.
Oh, Taa, yes, I've heard that.
Taa,
I've heard that.
Taa
yes.
very much.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Nick saying, Stuart Freeborn, thank you for getting me into the movies.
That is great. Okay, so you got the Orn from the Born and Freeborn. You got the Free
from... Yeah, it's Freeborn is turned around.
And then Taa,
free.
thank you. So that's much better than the corn fritter story.
That I can tell you that because Nick Dudman told me.
Yeah, okay. Now, where did this corn fritter thing start?
I have no idea, but it's making me hungry.
You and me both. Well, you know what? It's just great to take the time and talk to you, and your pleasure. And
it's been my pleasure.
I hope we get an opportunity to
And
speak
by the
again.
way, we've taken our eye off the ball because at Wrigley Field here now we're at the bottom of the 9th and the bases are loaded.
Yeah, that's right. And it's game over. Sox win.
It's gone.
I am
great
Sox
talking
fan,
to you.
Great talking to you,
Thank
Jerome.
you.
Thank you so much.
Rebel Voice Radio.